Let's learn how to knit the tubular bind-off for 1x1 ribbing. It's the same technique whether you're working flat or in the round. You have knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. You need a tapestry needle, and you need to break your tail of yarn about 3 times the length of your row, and maybe a little bit extra. So make sure you have a long tail of yarn broken off that's at least 3 times the length of your row or round. So it might be a really long tail if you're working with a bind off for the body of your sweater or something. So place that broken yarn onto your tapestry needle, and we've got a knit stitch to begin the row. Insert the needle knitwise into the first stitch and take it off. And then skip this next stitch and go through that second stitch, which is a knit stitch, purlwise, and leave it on. Now go through the first stitch, which is a purl stitch. We're going to go purlwise and take that stitch off. And then we're going to go knitwise through this purl stitch, but you want to take the tapestry needle behind. Okay, so look at this real close. Go behind that knit stitch on the needle, and then go into that purl stitch knitwise. Okay, we're going to do this a few times, so keep on watching. All right, now this first stitch is a knit stitch, so knitwise off, and then purlwise going into the front of the work. The tapestry needle is in the front of the work. You go through that next knit stitch purlwise. Now this first stitch we go purlwise off, pull the yarn through and take that purl stitch off, and then we want to go through this stitch knitwise, but we got to go behind. So go behind that knit stitch. You see that? I went behind the knit stitch and it's poking through, so I can go into the front knitwise like that. A few more times. Knitwise, take that stitch off, go through, we're going to skip that stitch, go through the next knit stitch, purlwise, as if to purl. Now this first stitch, we go purlwise off, and then we got to skip that knit stitch, going from behind, so we can go in as if to knit, and leave everything on. Now, this is a knit stitch, so knitwise off, purlwise, leave everything on, and then the purl stitch, we go purlwise off, and then behind, poke it through, and you see that purl bump? We're going to go into it as if to knit, and keep on going, keep on repeating. Knitwise off, skip a stitch, and purlwise, leave everything on. Purlwise off, and go behind that knit stitch to insert into that purl bump. Knitwise, leave it on. Knitwise off. And you can pull the yarn, not too tight, not too loose. See how it's looking? This is looking pretty nice. So I did knitwise off, purlwise, leave it on, purlwise off, go behind, and then knitwise into that purl bump, knitwise, leave it on, knitwise off, skip a stitch, and purlwise, leave it on, purlwise off, and then behind to knitwise, leave it on. And then when you have 2 stitches remaining, you can go knitwise off and then purlwise off and pull the yarn through. So that's the end of that tubular bind off. You might need to practice this a few times and check it out and make sure that tension is working for you. If it felt kind of complicated and weird, rewind and watch this video a few more times. It might take you a few attempts to get accustomed to the rhythm and making sure your needle's going into the right stitch. But it should look nice and smooth and rolled like that. It's a really good match for your tubular cast on as well. So finished, really beautiful. If you like that technique, you can check out my other tips and tricks at westknits.com. I have a lot of workshops on there called Westknits Best Tips Workshop, and how to knit brioche, how to knit socks, lots of fun educational knitting lessons. And you can also keep on watching here on my channel to learn more cast-ons and knitting tips and tricks. The more bind-offs and cast-ons you know, the more beautiful and finished your knitting looks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.